Hello fellow map makers, welcome to another live map making session with campaign choreographer and me, Raf Sheman of Fantasy Software. I hope the sound is good, please let me know in the chat. Yes, thanks Sue, sound seems to be fine, excellent. Yes, and everyone says they're hearing the bells, excellent. Able to do this with an open window, since the thunderstorms they had originally scheduled for tonight have been cancelled, which we like. Yes, and no pattern t-shirt or shirt to confuse the camera, or that as well. Looks like there's quite a few people around, very nice to see. Welcome to the session, and hope you're having a good time and summer or winter weather that's agreeable wherever you are in the world. Alright, then let's go ahead and look at what we have in store tonight. We are looking to do a dungeon map as per user request in the OSR Dungeon style, black and white dungeon created by TJ Vandel back in the day. It's an older annual, I think, from 2015, annual volume 9. So I've seen some people are looking in the chat for the template that you would need to have the annual volume 9 2015 installed to have this template available. And if not, I'm sorry, but you might have to try with another template, though this is a bit special, so it's probably not very useful to have to follow along with a different dungeon style. It is a black and white style that tries to recreate some of the traditional black and white dungeon stuff that's common in the old school Renaissance role-playing movement. We're harking back to older dungeon maps from early D&D times, and it's not a style I'm very familiar with, so we'll see how we get along tonight and see what we can do with it, and perhaps we might even do a few things to improve the look from it's been a few years since it's been released, and I'm sure it could use an update here and there and a change to see to perhaps improve the visuals. Alright, so if you've got any questions, as usual, please post them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them, either the knowledgeable folks in the chat, or I'll try to show things on screen. And if you like our content, please do give the channel a like and a subscribe, and that makes us more visible on YouTube. So let's see a little doodle I did as just to familiarize myself with the style I did earlier. But let's do a start from scratch. So I'm going to click the new map icon up here, save my changes, map type dungeons, decide settings myself. And then we've got the annual OSR Dungeon, both in the feed and the... Oh, I do see a little error there. See, the metric doesn't have the unit showing as metric. No big deal, that's just a change in the text file. But notice that is slightly off there. Then I'm going to click Next, and going to set the size of my map. Something I've learned over the years, a map that you can do in a reasonable time and still got some nice space on the map is something like 250 by 200 feet. That way you'll be able to see something on screen as well. And then I'm just going to click Finish here. And I need to switch to a different folder. Where's my video folder? There's videos, fantasy streams. We are here, and let's go with my dungeon. And there's and I've got the big dots on screen from an earlier one. I think I'll switch this back to the small dots. don't think it's going to be so important that you see the grid dots in this annual issue. If you do want to see it more clearly, please let me know. And here we are with the basic map layout. So what's the idea? What do I want to do? I'm thinking I want to perhaps create a crypt and a vampire's lair or something like that. So something underneath a castle with a big crypt area and then some side chambers and things. So we'll see how this, how we can lay out this thing. First off, I'm going to do, basically as the centerpiece, I'm going to draw the big crypt. And for that, I'm going to want to create a great big room. And the add room tool is great for that. And here we are. And here we've got some decisions to make, what we want to, how we want our floors to set up. The typical thing is that you just do a floor background and choose one of the bitmap styles for that. For example, the floor tiles here that we've seen earlier. And then the walls just in pure black. It's going to be fine. And I'm just wondering whether perhaps this is a bit too dark. I do find that the bitmap fills of the square grids in here make the overall map quite dark, are quite busy. So, but I might change it later. Let's give it a try first. But what I'm going to do is actually to have a little bit of a fallback. I'm going to put these into foreground and I'm going to add a background layer that's just going to be solid in white color. Well, let's actually offset a little bit with gray so it's easier to differentiate. It's should not be visible behind the floor tiles bitmap fill anyway. And then the width of our walls, 1 foot, seems to be about right. So I'm going to leave that. And now I just want to start. Oh, some construction going on site. So if it gets too loud, I might have to close the window. But I was hoping they'd be finished by now. Well, it's actually just a bike, motorbike leaving, I guess. So let's see how we want to set this up. I'm thinking I'm around in this area, so I'm just going to start with one of the corners, and I'm going to take a look at my coordinates here, at my relative coordinates, to see how long this is going to be. 60 foot, about 20 meters is quite large, but it could even be a bit larger here, especially. So let's make it a 90 foot length of the north wall. Click once and then going down and say 50 foot or something like that. Could go for 60. No, I want to make it a little bit narrower. 55. Let's make it a 50 foot height there. Here we go. And then I'm going to zoom in a bit. A very large room with lots of floor tiles. So see, it's quite busy with all the black lines. See whether we want to keep that. But what I want to do is I want to add some basically interior columns, pillars, like a big vaulted catacomb would be. And see how that goes. We could do this by adding a color key effect, but this can be tricky with all the white and the similar colors in the map. I'm thinking I might just do something tricky here. I'm just gonna turn off the foreground for a bit, and I'm gonna do the background in white, and then just draw a pillar this way. Here we go, and I can now copy that. I want to basically make large, oops, that's a little bit too wide. One thing to make equally spaced pillars or stuff like this with the copy column. This is just draw 2 with the difference with the distance you want. Then copy the one of them. Do it, but do the origin of your copy on the corner of the previous one, and then just use the F5 modifier. Ah, no, that was too far, actually. Was the wrong corner. I need to take this corner here, and then just press F5 again each time. That's the on modifier. Click the corner, and that way you're sure you always have the same distance. And the only problem here is I'm don't get the same distance because I do have the one here. No, I do have a choice. If I want to keep it absolutely symmetrical, I can either make the room longer here or shorter, or I can move this into the center. I can also make the room perhaps a little less symmetrical. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the room a little bit shorter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit, reshape, stretch, because I'm stretching several entities at once. Click do it. Outline the corners I want to stretch or change, and then move them just one grid space back, and that way I've got them in here. And now I want a row of columns on the same thing on the other side. For that, I'm just going to grab the copy function. It's up here and put them down here. And I'm thinking, do I want another set? Yes, I think I do want that. So I'm going to do this again and put once. Oops, that was a little bit of a misclick. I'm now using just prior to move this. That's one of the things here due to all the black lines. I sometimes have trouble seeing the cursor where I actually am. And here I'm choosing that, going here. And this way, this is going to be, I'm imagining a dense labyrinth of thick pillars and small corridors between them, hard to overlook. Might be for an interesting and creepy scene with people exploring this with a little wider avenue in the center. I quite like this. So this is going to be my main center of the room. So let's have a look at sheet effects. I think the template is set up not to have sheet effects activated by default. And what happens if we do that? Oh, nothing. Right. There we are. And you see we don't have very much applied except for some coloring effect. If we look at this, this is actually on the whole drawing sheet. And there we are with the RGB matrix process that does basically create this little sepia tone. Yeah, we can leave that. The texturize effect is, let's have a look there. There's even a little error in there. See, the texturize effect is the old CC3 link and not even a relative link, so it doesn't find the texture. It's actually referencing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just do this as the relative filter for CC3 plus and see whether this works. Apply. Yes, there we are. And see, there we do have a little paper texture filter here. All right, but I think I'm going to turn this off for here for the screen. It doesn't add anything and doesn't really help on the look on the screen. There we go. So we're going to turn this off. So far so good. But what I want to add first now is the typical, what you often see on this type of map is a wall hatching, going around the walls, setting them off from the main thing. And for that, I'm gonna go and take a look here, and you'll see that we have fill styles for the wall hatching here. Here we are, that you can add around the wall. I'm just gonna go for the lightest one here. It's dark enough as it is, and this is the map style is set up that you can just draw this around your map. I'm gonna set several points here, so my rounded corners are all the same at each corner of the map. There we go, and we turn it off, then you can see this. The other thing that's not quite right here now is that we don't have this hatch on the pillars. This should actually be on the pillars. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the fill style inside these pillars to the same thing. For that, I'm going to use the extract properties modifier on here so I can see which fill style that is. And then I'm going to do change fill style, all of these, combine not the color 0, so not the black walls, D for do it, right click, and then we've got this selected here. There we are. And now we do have these all showing that this is filled in, basically. There we are. And now I do want to do a bit of a the hedge style is on the wall's background here. I want to add a little bit of an edge fade effect on that. So let's say 2 feet. And we could even make this not quite as dark. So let's make this 80%. Auto opacity 0 is fine. Map units, apply. There we go. And now we've got the outline fading into the white here. Doesn't affect the on the interior pillars because this is actually not on the same sheet. It's actually on the floor sheet, but that's fine for us because we don't need to apply any extra sheet effects to that. Then I also want to add a little bit of a glow on the walls. So I'm gonna do a glow on the outside in black. 12% strength is fine. Let's try just one, no, perhaps a little bit less, 0.5 units, but map units, not percent. Apply, and this way it does, the walls appear a little bit softer and not quite as vector-like, not as cat-like as in the plane style. Yeah. If you wanted, as Vivian mentions, if you wanted to make the wall outline a little bit more hand-drawn looking, you should probably draw something less regular than I did. I just did a fairly regular polygon. You could do a fractal polygon or a smooth one with lots more nodes to place down, and that way it would look a little bit more hand-drawn. But I'm quite happy with the look for now, and I'm also not too bothered anymore about the background, the floor tiles. I think they are fine, so I can leave them here for the moment. Yeah, there was a question whether we could cut through the floor with a color key effect. Yes, we could do that, but it did not. Color key can be tricky if you only have 2 colors, basically the black and white in the map, similar to some other effects, and so I tend to avoid that with black and white maps, and it works fine this way, so I'm good about this. So next up, I want to build an entrance. So there's an entrance here to our crypt, so we do need a corridor leading off. At corridor, I want a little bit wider one, so 10 foot is fine. And I'm going to use the same settings as for my room. But I do need to turn on this again, and I think I had the 255 on the background there. There we go, and then I'm gonna press B to actually break the wall, connect and break here, and then we're gonna draw a little bit of a corridor out here. That looks good. And from there, there's gonna be a big door, so I'm gonna look into the double doors here. A big, strong double door. Okay, I should probably not have broken actually the gap into the wall there, so the door can do that. This way I don't have walls to cover the gaps. I could of course make the door larger, but I don't really want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo for a moment and go back to my corridor and do the same with the C shortcut, which connects to the wall but does not break it. There we go. And then I can use the double doors. Oh, that's is that the one I've been using? Ah, no, that's larger. This one, you see, because the wall is still there, it aligns to that, and clicking that puts the door nicely there. All right. Then let's have a look at the stairs. We've got some stairs here, though they're a bit... Let's see how we can set this up. So we do have this specific stair symbols here in this style. So I'm thinking I need to make this larger. So is 1.5 too large? No, that should be fine. Symbols flat is fine for the sheet. And I'm going to just plop this here. But this is, I don't like the fill style here behind. I do need either just white or black there to cut this off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at the floors fill and floor plane. Let's do the floor plane and just draw this across the door here. And it has vanished. Interesting. How is this set up? Floor plane. Let's have a look at the properties. Floors. Okay. Wondering why this has vanished now. Fill style. Solid. Color white. Okay. Info list prior. It's just gone. All right, so let's try this again. I actually want to, let's have a look here. I'm on the floor sheet, backlog 4. There we go. There, there, and there. Right click to finish. Here we are. Why does this vanish? Floor symbols flat. Is it too? The stairs should not be hiding anything of that. Let's front this. Combine not the symbol. All right, I am confused. If I change color prior, black. Still vanishing. Alright. Am I on any layer that is hidden? No, can't be. Then I wouldn't be able to select it. Or are we fill style? No. Change properties prior. Up and down. No, layer. Floor 1. Color 0. Fill style solid. Is it on walls background? Move to sheet. Prior. On floors. Somehow it ended up on the walls background sheet. Yeah, that's weird. Because I thought the template says floors. Not entirely sure what happened here. Sorry about that. But okay, well, that I might investigate at another time. Let's continue here. Let's continue with the map. Yeah, someone mentioned this is not probably the correct way to show stairs going up here. They are going up. So we could rotate the symbol this way, and this shows that the stairs coming down from that direction. Although not entirely sure I would show it this way, but that's more of a preference thing than actually a proper convention. So I leave it at this. Now I do probably want to change or add an outline here with the hatching to this area, and what I can do there is simply go ahead to the walls and do the hatching. There we go. And just draw this here, same way I did the other hatching. There we go. Might add a bit here. There we go. And we can just overlap these pieces here. I could of course also just edit the general polygon to extend it around this corner, but it's usually easiest just to draw a new polygon. Okay, so that's that. Let's continue with the next section. Now I want to go into a secret, the secret crypt for the vampire. So we do need some kind of secret door here on that side. It's perhaps a bit obvious if we just add a secret door at the very end here. So let's do something else instead. So let's do an obvious open extra room here. So again, I'm gonna grab the corridor. This time I'm actually not putting in a door. I'm just, well, what I should do first, I should put in the room first. That's easier to connect with the corridors then. So I'm just gonna grab this here and add a smallish room on here. And then I'm gonna do the corridor. Basically this is the decoy room. So I'm gonna just leave it open, no doors, and connect this with a B to also break the go. And there I did a little misclick. Actually, it can be. There we are. That looks nice. And then we can perhaps, let's have a look what we've got here. We've got some bone pit, interesting. Coffins, pedestal. So let's put a nice bone pit in here, smallish one. So probably take all the attention of the characters. I'm going to turn off snap here to center this. There we are. And then I'm going to put in a secret door here on the side. Let's have a look. We've got nice secret doors here. Small one. Turn on snap again. There we go. And then I'm going to do a small corridor. So I'm going to do this as a 5-foot one. And all the way to here. And then I'm going to put the proper crypt in here. This. Here we are. And now here I can put a strong door in here. That's the small door. Still a bit the large size. Oh, I actually not still at the 1.5 size that I use for the stairs. So I should add this back to normal. And then it fits better as well. Here we go. And then we can have a look what we put in here. So let's put an altar with skulls here at the end. Turn this to the right direction. Here we go. And also a bone pit around one in front of that. So probably. And then some coffins. Put one this side here. Let's turn off snap so I can fit it better. One on this side here and another, perhaps an open one. Oh, this is much smaller. Okay. Why is that one so large? Seems somehow they've got one larger coffin in there. That's strange. Ah, there. Oh, it does say coffin large specifically. All right. So let's make it a bit smaller and an open one here on this side. There we are. And do we have one? Perhaps put a nice statue here. There we go. Yes, as Sven says, these are not very detailed or very clear to see what it specifically is, so it's easy to define them as something else and use them for different purposes. Though there's quite a nice selection of different symbols in here. So they are all smallish, so you can't go in very high detail export, but that's not what the style is meant for. So we've got this nice end room here with a secret room of the vampire. So let's do a few side rooms or side crypts here for the main room, and then let's add more details. So I'm gonna do a couple of circular rooms here. Snap. Oops, that's not where I wanted to go. That's what I wanted. There. And one here. Same on the other side. No, that's a little offset, so I'm just going to move this. Could of course also go in and just copy that over. But I'm in the process of using the room tool, so I'm just going to stick to that tool. Here we go. Then again, I'm going to use the corridors, small ones. Here I'm going to not leave, basically break the gap on this side, but leave the wall in there so I can put a door in there nicely. One. 2. That was the wrong key. B. There we go. There. And the last one here. There we go. Let's put in some doors. Small, thicker ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I might even add connecting corridors here. No, that's the room command. I want the corridor command. And break gaps in here to connect these. And I'm thinking my vampire would want a second exit, so it's not so easy to trap in there. So I'm gonna add another secret corridor, connect to here, go this way, and connect here. And then doors again, secret door to here, and normal door here. Nice and good. And now I can go in and add, since I know the general layout now, I go in and do the wall hatching. Obviously it's easier once you know what you're doing that to do it all at the end, so that you don't have to go in each time and redo those bits and pieces. But that's, I'm just not got a very detailed plan here. I'm just going along as I've got the ideas here. Would probably not bother about doing everything here that detailed, but I'm in the process here, so I'll just add these round corners. Basically, I do a corner by, so that it's fairly regular, by putting one point on this here, then the second point at the apex of the corner, and then the next one at the other end, and that way do have this slightly rounded but not quite straight corner. There we are. And let's just go like this. Yeah. To this bit. And there's my outline. Yeah, quite like this. I'm actually liking this more than I expected, not having worked much with the style before. Alright, so see, they've got a little bit of got this section here which is not quite right. You can always go in and move the bits with the node edit tool. Move this up to get this in line with the rest. And there, that's better. Not quite perfect yet, but fine. And then I would go in and start populating the rooms a little bit more with stuff. So we might have some storage here as well. So let's put in some barrels. Do we have larger barrels as well? No, just two different ones here. Thinking these might be, oh, actually I'm a bit scaled down, so but we could put this at 1.5 size, I guess, without too much trouble for some larger barrels. Okay, yeah, it's the different ones being randomly selected. So this is the wine cellar probably, and some couple standing barrels as well. go. In here we're going to put in some trunks. Set this to normal. Larger crate. Chest. And what else do we have here? Sword on a pedestal. Doesn't quite fit. Let's put in a smaller barrel. There we go. Yes, guess Kevin says with the vampire, the red beverage in the barrels might not quite be wine. Very good. And let's see what we've got here in the way of furniture. We've got some shelves. So let's put some shelves in here. Probably got some little bit of a library. It certainly doesn't need a bed. Cupboard. Here we go. Table. Bench and a couple of chairs. And in here, what do we put in here? Let's have a look. Oh, probably some kind of necromancy stuff. Something to raise some undead servants or so on. So let's put in a couple braziers. Oh, a nice well, but might be nice. Might want to put that on Sybil's flat, so I don't have a drop shadow on this. And a magic circle. There we are. So we might also perhaps add a, if I wanted to add another stairway that leading down somewhere in some lower levels, I could put that here. So I'm gonna also do this as a corridor. Snap again. Connect without breaking. Oh no, actually I do want an end wall here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna uncheck the no end wall, and then I'm gonna connect this here and this way, and then we're gonna go into the stairways, and let's do the straight small stairway, and this way this time it's going down. There we are. And this is actually a little bit different than the other. The other stairway is actually has a background. This one doesn't. You see, you can see the floor through that. Okay, I wasn't aware that these were set up that differently. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try again with the floor. Let's have a look again. Let's go for the floor plane. Should go on the floors here. Actually, I do need a little bit of a narrower grid. I do want one. No, that's just one snap. I want 4 snaps. So I can fit it a bit more neatly to the stairway. There we go. No, these consistently vanish. This is really confusing the hell out of me. Move to sheet to floors. Yeah, this time now it works. Strange. Anyway, I'm gonna make the stairway a little bit larger so it fits better in here. There we go. we've got the stairs going down. From here on, I can go on and add some labels to the map. And have a look here. Main crypt and cellar. To move center this and make it a bit larger. Let's have a look how this text outline is set up. I usually prefer to put in an outer glow nowadays. Back when this was set up, we probably didn't have the sheet effect for that, not yet. So because I've got a little bit more control over that, and it can make a sharper outline basically. So range 1 and just a very little bit of blur size. Okay, apply. That's a little bit too large. So make this 0.5. There we are. Not much difference, but you can see that the outline is a little bit sharper than with the normal glow effect. So that's the main cellar. So let's say, label this as the bone pit. Make it a little bit smaller than the rest of the text. And there you can see you've got a bit of a sheet effect problem, because now we get the overlap between the black colors. What I tend to do to fix that is make the text just a slightly dark, brighter gray. So change color and choose our dark gray, and that should be enough to erase any color matches with that and the grid background. So we're good. This is obviously the GM map, so we can safely label it as the secret crypt. So this is the library. It's the well room, also leading down into the darkness. I think I need to edit this to go over 2 lines. Go. Here's the wine cellar. And the storage. Blood bank, yeah. There we are. And here I'll put into dungeon. Top left. And up here to castle. And I'm missing, I do want the outline here to go around this bit of wall as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the notes and move the notes accordingly. Probably should have used the, oops, that was wrong. No, what I should do instead, if I am moving a whole section like this, is individual node movement is normally not the best idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to edit and use my trusty stretch again. select this, select the nodes I'm moving, and this way I can move several of them at once, and I've got my hedge polygon set up correctly. The counts crypt. Yeah, that's another we've got a suggestion from Vivian to do if you want to have the text actually in black, there's a good way you can do that. I'll show you in a second. So I'm just going to put in the title to the map up here. Count script. So let's change the color of all the text back to black, and then let's copy to sheet all the text and put that on top here. Text outline, or move up. And now I've done something wrong. What I've done now. Oh, no. Okay, move up. Let's have a look what I've done here. It's the black text without the sheet effects. That's what I was intending. And the other text. And there we are. Just a glitch in the display. All right, and that way you've got the black, and the text is basically covering on the sheet behind all the gaps that the sheet effect would have created. All right, and then do we have a... Yes, we do have actually a nice title cartouche for this. So let's have a look whether we can put this in and make it large enough. So this would be about right from the vertical scaling, or let's say 2, but we do need to scale it further horizontally. Go, and let's adjust the text. Oop. Both, yes. There we go, and I can move the whole thing a little bit. No. Come on, here we go. There we are. All right, and but it looks like I don't have a scale bar in this style at all. That's weird. But sure, certainly possible that we don't have one in here, so we could use a scale bar from a different style. Let's have a look whether we can do that. So if I go to dungeons and have a look, we've got the ink dungeons should have a quite a similar style. And so let's grab this scale in feet. That's very large. Set normal. We go. We want to make this smaller, so just half of that size perhaps, and put in 50 feet for the scale. The only thing is that the font is not working in this one here. It's a bit weird. Let's have a look. Symbol manager. Edit. Info list. Font Arial, yes. Strange. Okay. Let's change the font. Change text properties. All this here. Go on. To to our primitive font we've been using in here. There we are. The only thing is, what you'll notice, while the text changes nicely here for these two, the adjustable text, basically it's a text attribute of the symbol, does not change. That does not happen automatically. What we need to do is we need to remove that and just enter the symbol again. And then it works. And there's our scale bar. And I might just move all the map a little bit in this to the center of the map. And there we are. And there's our finished crypt map in the annual OSR Dungeon style. And there we are. And I hope you liked our little experiment with a, also to me, fairly unfamiliar style. Just a little bit. If you don't like the sepia effect, it's easy to go to a whole drawing and just turn that off. Then you've just got the plain black and white style. Or if you wanted the texturize the paper texture back, you can turn that back on, and you've got a look that matches the original style. And that's it for today, I'd say. And hope you enjoyed today's session. If you did, do give us a like on the video. And I'll not be here next week. I'll be at Gen Con. Hopefully I'll be back the week after. Depends a little bit. It's going to be fairly close to my travel back, so I might be knocked out. It's always stressful, specifically on the voice, the week of Gen Con, so I'm not entirely sure I can do a video there. And Remy is on holiday, he's away, so he'll not be able to jump in. But hopefully I'll see you back in 2 weeks. If not, it's going to be 3 weeks. All the best, enjoy your time, and if anybody of you visits Gen Con, do stop by at our booth. I've got the booth map and our booth number up on the blog. You can check there, and if you do, safe travels. Otherwise, have a nice time, and happy mapping. All the best.